Hi, this is the video for Daf Nun Aleph of Masechet Ketubot, and there's a disturbing part of this page that I want to talk about in this video. It's something that I gave a shiur on here at the Conservative Yeshiva earlier this year, and it's disturbing, and I want to talk about it. So I know there's some controversy over trigger warnings, but if you don't want to hear or talk about the subject of men's views of women who have been raped, then probably a lot of this Masechet may not be right for you, and certainly this video is not. So be warned. The Mishnah says that if a husband doesn't write a clause in the ketubah guaranteeing redeeming his wife from captivity, he has to anyway. And he writes in the ketubah, or he doesn't write in the ketubah and he has to do it anyway. If you are taken captive, I will redeem you and I will restore you to be my wife. And those last words, li le'intu, to be my wife, are extremely important. Mordechai Akiva Friedman, in his fantastic work, Jewish Marriage in Palestine, talks about the emphasis put in some medieval medieval ketubot. My mind is on Pesach now already, but medieval ketubot, where they emphasize not just that a husband has an obligation to redeem his wife, but that he has an obligation to redeem his wife and continue to live with her as a married couple, even after she has been taken captive, despite the fact that we know from elsewhere there was a concern that a woman was taken captive, had been raped, and therefore the man may have these feelings that I'm not going to legitimize, but certainly are common throughout the world, that once a woman has been raped, the husband does not want her back. I was just doing some research on it, and because of all the wars and the militias and the instability in Africa, a lot of women in Africa have been raped by these marauding armies, and a lot of them are facing the even worse tragedy that they're not being welcomed back to their homes by their husbands. And really, this is at the heart of that ketubah clause, that insistence not just that the husband can take her back as a wife, which I'm going to get to in a second, but, that he has to take her back as a wife, to make an active demonstration, an active statement, exclamation to the rest of the world, that this woman is not, quote unquote, sullied goods, and that she should be welcomed back as a full member of the community. And if he wants to divorce her later, he may do that, but he cannot divorce her in the immediate wake of the captivity. And we read on Nun Aleph Amud Bet, the second part of the page, an earlier opinion that did not seem to hold that way. It seemed to hold even worse, where we read Avua de Shmuel, Shmuel's father said, a woman who has been raped is prohibited to her husband. I'm not going to go into the whole analysis, but it seems that the original opinion here, which does accord with earlier halacha found in non-rabbinic works, including the Book of Jubilees, that a woman raped was considered prohibited categorically to her husband, not just chayshina and shema tchilato ba'ones v'sofa b'ratzon, that we're afraid that in the end she engaged in sex willingly with her captor, but because there was a law that prohibited raped women from returning to their husbands, in a sense looking at them as adulteresses, even though we know that the adultery was committed as a part of rape and not willingly. However, I want to emphasize that the rabbis, Rav and other rabbis throughout the sugya, stamped out that halacha and said that since this is something that the woman did not, an adulterous woman, a woman who engages in adultery with full intention, may not return to her married life. That is something we learn on this page as well. But if it was a rape, it was something she did not willingly get into, something that was completely against her will, and really 100% certain to be against her will, then, not even 100% certain, even if it was not even 100% certain, excuse me, that it was against her will, and we're not sure about it. We assume that it was against her will, as we say over here, and she's permitted to go back to her husband. I realize that some of this page again was difficult because we hear attitudes towards rape that we certainly do not and should not share anymore. But I do think that this is a phenomenon that continues in the modern world, where not only does rape occur, but these horrible attitudes towards women continue to occur. And at least I'm glad to see that the halacha and the rabbis on Nun Aleph Amud Bet stamped out that halacha and actually engaged in an active refutation of it.